actually ended up getting there. But however it did, I'm very glad that it's been taken down. This is, extremely offensive, extremely inappropriate imagery, has absolutely no place in our country, goes 100% contrary to values that all of us here share.
It is racist. It's shocking. It's sickening. And we should all be disgusted by it. But I think we also need to make sure we're not distracted by it as well. I mean, the president's had a very bad series of weeks here with respect to ICE and the killings that have taken place and the detentions and how that's flipped the issue on him. They're now way underwater. I think the 65 to 70% of Americans disapprove of the way he's handling that situation. And there are others like that, too. The economy. He's failing to focus on bringing down the high costs and increasing costs of things like rent and groceries and utilities. And the American people are like, wait a second, we voted for you to try and address those issues. You're dealing with everything else but that. And we don't even have to bring up the Epstein files, right? So, there's a lot going on that's bad for the Trump White House. And frequently these types of things pop up when things are, at a low. But I think he's going to continue to go low, and I think they're going to continue to get worse for him. I think the public's tiring of this. Even the MAGA dieharders, I think, losing some patience for all this kind of nonsense.
We have shifting narratives, apparent lies, and the president not taking responsibility for his actions and the consequences of it. We need to really be clear here. The president was drawing from a deep, toxic well of racist tropes going back to at least the 1850s with scientific racism. This notion that Black people are most closely related to apes and gorillas and simians, such that they are subhuman and sub-citizens. And since this president has called into question President Obama's birthplace and his legitimacy, credibility as a citizen, this is true to form. So in other words, this is incredibly offensive. It is not entirely new.
Let's talk about with our political panel. Legal and political strategist Katie Zachariah on the right, and on the left, Brian Tyler Cohen, host of the podcast No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. Welcome back to both of you. Thanks for being here. All right, Katie, is it racist for the President of the United States to put out an image of the former President of the United States and the former First Lady as an ape?
President Trump made it very clear. He put out a video on the Georgia fraud. And within that video was an unedited portion of a reel that went up and should have been clipped by his staffer when he sent it. He said, I didn't see it. He just made this statement on Air Force One. I didn't see it. The staffer was supposed to clip it. It wasn't clipped. I took it down right away.
He didn't take it down right away. He took it down after 12 hours, and the White House doubled down on it for that entire time.
Took it down when he realized the content of it.
So so is it racist? You didn't answer the first question. Is it racist that that image itself?
The image ties into a greater AI whole video that was made on The Lion King. So,
where in The Lion King was there an ape?
The entire video. We can watch it if we want to pull up the AI video from the reel.
Yeah.
That had this whole AI video of all of the animals.
Yeah.
Period. The end. And President Trump won the Hispanic Latin vote by a historic margin, the most any other Republican has in history, the most Black voters since the 1960s. He's not racist. Time and time again, he was on stage with Nicki Minaj the other day. I mean, this man is not racist. He made it very clear what happened in that statement. I stand by that, and I watched both that clip and the AI clip of the Jungle Book, or the Lion King, with the music, and I thought, this isn't racist.
Brian?
Look, I think the reason that Donald Trump did this, that he engaged in this whole process where, to your exact point, we didn't see an apology for hours and hours and hours and hours, is because he is a small, petty, fragile man who cannot take responsibility for his own actions. And the second reason, frankly, is because he is a racist. And we have seen Donald Trump engage in racist activity in the past. Numerous times. We watched as Donald Trump took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 Black kids for murdering someone who they did not murder. We saw Donald Trump start his political career by denying the citizenship of the first Black president. And right now, we're watching a secret police force rove around the country so that they can round up brown and Black people for the crime of being brown and Black in this country. And to claim then that Donald Trump is somehow not racist is just to deny what we can all see with our own eyes.
Well, first of all, it's not a secret police group. The immigration and customs enforcement officers are here to enforce the immigration laws
Do they show their
of the
faces?
United States.
Are they wearing insignia?
They
Do
wear,
they give their
they
names?
wear
Do they have
masks.
badges?
They wear masks because we have a bunch of governors and mayors that have absolutely come out and said this is the Gestapo, and they've enraged these people.
I think if they don't
The
want to be called the
ICE
Gestapo,
All right, we
if
can
they
make
don't
it,
want to be called
we're
the
not talking
Gestapo,
ice tonight. We're not
don't
talking
kidnap
ice tonight.
people off the
But we've
streets.
done that debate before. Let's talk about this particular video though, because how do you respond to the claim that, okay, if it was racist and it was a mistake, why not just say that was wrong? We shouldn't have put that out. I'm sorry that it got put out that way, but it's offensive to clearly a lot of people in this country, and I don't want to offend anybody, and I'm taking responsibility. When he has so often criticized people, including Joe Biden, for not taking responsibility, for being the auto pen guy, and then now blaming this on some staffer.
The latter part of his statement on Air Force One, they said, would you be offended? Or he said, I didn't like it. I wouldn't like it either. I mean, this was the question. And did you apologize? Are you sorry? And he said, I'm not sorry because I didn't do anything wrong. He didn't see it, so he's not apologizing for that. And honestly, the amount of information that President Trump intakes from his staff and then goes through, he saw the Georgia fraud, they pass it off to his staffer. This is truly how it works. They clip it up and put it on his Truth Social. I believe his statement, and I don't think he had racist intent in the least.
Katie, you don't have to do this. Like, you don't have to debase yourself for Donald Trump in the way all of these Republicans debase themselves for Donald Trump. His claim that this was the fault of some staffer. What was the staffer? A 79-year-old with swollen ankles who, is weirdly attracted to his daughter? Like, we all can see
that's unfair. That's unfair.
We all can see the truth. We know there was no staffer. We know that Donald Trump has his
We
phone.
don't know
He's
that.
tweeting-
We
he's-
don't know that there was
he's
no
tweeting-
staffer.
He's tweeting
We
at
don't know.
all
How do we know?
hours of
How do we know there's no
He's
staffer?
tweeting at all hours of the night. We have to contort ourselves into. We have to do mental gymnastics. We could enter the Winter Olympics right now with the mental gymnastics that we would have to do to believe this idea that it was totally, definitely not Trump's fault. That it was just some staffer that Donald Trump is apparently curating content but sending it to this staffer who then. If you have a staffer, presumably your job would be to vet the content.
Yeah, but that is the bigger question. It certainly could have been a staffer. He's the president of the United States. There's a lot of stuff that comes at him, right? I mean, that happens.
And it's typically how his truth
that
posts
is
go.
fine. But then why not say that was wrong? What accountability is there for the staffer? And by the way, what's the screening process? This is the president of the United States who speaks on behalf of the United States government. And that some staffer has the ability, that would never fly here. We couldn't do that at CNN. There's a bunch of people. And if I did something like that, I would potentially get fired. There's a vetting process. Why isn't there more of a vetting process at the White House?
Look, it was a tweet or a truth at 2:40 in the morning. And have you watched both clips? Have you watched
I watched the whole
Georgia?
clip.
And
Yeah.
as you watch it, you see at that 58-second mark,
Yeah.
a reel starts popping up and then goes back down. This is exactly how it went, and
Yeah.
it just needed to be edited on that back end. Whether or not his staffer missed that part, I'm not going to speculate at what they're doing at 2:40 when they're asked to do this. Maybe they were tired, and I'm not going to justify it. Look, I said
Maybe we shouldn't be posting videos at 2:40 in the morning.
and at the end of
Yeah.
the day, if the question is what was his intent, his intent was to show Georgia fraud and talk about the Georgia election fraud and the stolen election in Georgia.
But then posting a video of a bunch of people bowing to you may not be the way to do that. All right, let's talk about the Epstein files. There's news on that front tonight.